So I was watching the England match against Serbia last night, and who scored? Jude Bellingham, who I think is gorgeous, sexy, talented. I even see little sparks of Cristiano Ronaldo as a footballer in him. Time will tell to see if he's as good as that or as good as his idol Zidane. But I was really, really happy when he scored. I'm really looking forward to the Euros 2024. I mean, I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen, and I'm really enjoying the matches in the tournament right now. Um, what else do I have to say about that? But England were very disappointing in that match. After the goal was scored, they kind of just sat back, and I honestly thought that Serbia were going to score. If England are going to go far in this tournament, they have got to have some kind of game plan and better tactics. That's just my personal opinion. Anyway, in this episode, you're going to hear names or channel names such as Jura, Country Joe, which is often called that channel is often called CJ. Noodle Mash. Noodle Mash seems to be in a back and forth with Lycan. And of course, Lycan seems to be always in the center of some kind of drama on YouTube. How is he doing this? He shouldn't even be here. He's like Natasha Cooper, very much like Natasha Cooper. It's funny because him and Natasha Cooper were in a back and forth once. Um, Lycan is a channel creator. For all who don't know, he's a channel creator. And I think he used to do satire, cartoons, drawings, stuff like that, sketches, stuff like that. He's very good at what he does, but it seems to me he's somebody that likes to create drama and conflict um, surrounding people. He's somebody that likes to triangulate. I often call it the Amber Tiffany Lycan love triangle. Lycan dated Tiffany, and then he dated Amber. And ever since then, there has been conflict between Amber and Tiffany back and forth. And I think Lycan definitely, I'm not saying that these women are not responsible for their own actions, but I think Lycan likes to create this. Triangulation is when somebody manipulates relationships by bringing a third party into um, into the situation, into the context of a relationship. And the third party could be an ex-girlfriend. It could be the person's mother, for example. Say that Lycan and his ghost girlfriend, people are saying he has a ghost girlfriend, a girlfriend who's an imaginary person. But say that Lycan is living with his girlfriend and he decides to bring his mother into this situation by moving her into the home, knowing that there's going to be conflict between the girlfriend and the mother over him. That's a very typical triangulation situation, because it feeds that person's ego. Um, that's what happens a lot of the time. And I'm going to tell you about a personal situation. But first of all, I'm going to tell you about Amber. Um, Amber, I was first not introduced to, but I started to find or know about Amber because she was in conflict with Bam. And there was a situation that happened that many of us know about. And I can tell you that not only did Bam overreact to that situation, but I can also tell you that Amber is completely innocent of what she was being, the claim that was made against her regarding Bam's grandson was absolute nonsense. Never happened. Amber is innocent. She didn't do anything. And it was all an overreaction by Bam and something that she trumped up, just like she claimed that people were coming to her house with flashlights. That was also nonsense. Um, you know, Bam is about as honest as Claire Morgan. Let's put it that way. I see this a lot on this platform and on social media. You have a guy like Lycan, who is very charismatic. He's very engaging. That's a element of his sociopathy. People like that. They're very engaging. They're charismatic, and that's how they're able to charm people, use people to their own ends, and that's how they're able to manipulate. Um, there shouldn't be any more drama between Tiffany and Amber. That should have been in the past. That should have been reconciled, but it's ongoing. And I believe, truly, truly believe that Lycan is the one who fuels this. Now, I'm not saying it's only him, but I believe he's that type of a person. He's one of these people, and let me just give you a quick background to the Lycan Amber Tiffany situation. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a Mrs. Know It All. I don't know everything. But to my understanding, um, Lycan and Tiffany dated for a while. They broke up. And then at some point, Lycan no longer had a YouTube channel because there was a takedown. Um, and he created a new YouTube channel where Amber was hosting him and appearing in his live streams and chats. This is one of the reasons why I do not like to appear in people's live streams and chats, because it never seems to end up well. As you know, if you know anything about me or if you know about the situation, I was a regular for a short time, for a few months, in Bam's live streams and chats, and it never ended well. So anyway, Lycan dated Tiffany for a short time. They broke up, and when they broke up, it was drama back and forth between them. Wasn't very good. And then he became friendly with Amber, and Amber hosted him, and would host him on her channel, and he would appear in her live streams. And then she started a very brief relationship with Lycan, and to my knowledge, Lycan basically split up with Amber and told Tiffany that he was still in love with her. Oh God, this is why I call it the love triangle, which is a slightly different, um, situation to triangulation, but it has the same sentiments and it can create the same kind of drama as um, as a triangulation. Now, this is where I'm getting a bit. Ever since this, Amber hosted Lycan, and it didn't benefit her; it benefited him, because by using Amber, he was able to get donations, and he was able to get his followers on his side. And he's one of these people, because of his charm, charisma, his ability to engage. He has a lot of followers, and a lot of these followers happen to be female. Not a unique situation. I see this all the time on YouTube. So he has all these females following him around. Whenever he loses a channel, he creates another one, and he's got all of these female followers donating to him, feeding into his ego, telling him how great he is, whatever. And whoever he decides to turn against, they follow suit. And it was kind of like that with Bam as well. When she turned on you, her followers would follow her lead, so to speak. And she had this divide and conquer routine, whereas she would say, block this person. She did it with Ali, and I think she probably tried to do it with me as well. The thing about me is that I have a strong personality, and I'm alive and well. She isn't. So I'm not trying to say that there's a winner in that scenario, but she was never going to affect me the way that she wanted to. But I see the effect that Lycan has on people, and particularly on women. And I see the drama back and forth. Right now, he's in this big drama with Noodle Mash. Before that, I think it was Granny's Watching or something. Anyway, I have been in this kind of situation. When I was a teenager, in my late teens, I briefly dated a guy. And he lived next door to a woman, to a girl that looked like me. She had the same skin tone, complexion, or at least similar. She had a similar type of figure to me. We wore the similar type of clothes. We had both had black hair, similar eyes. We both have the similar eyes, similar facial features. We both are from ethnic backgrounds, and we're both black and European. So, in varying degrees. So we looked similar, and I knew that he liked her before he met me. That he was basically chatting her up, sending her love notes, roses. And when I started dating him, he told me that he wanted to date her before he met me, and he did that as a form of triangulation. He did that because he knew that if I ever, it was a way of him not only creating friction between us, and there was friction, it worked, but it was a way that he could hang on to me. It was like, if you leave me, because I cannot live without you, that's what he would say. He said, I might not be able to live with you, but I cannot live without you. If you leave me, I always have this woman next door as an option. She looks just like you, and I can replace you with her. For a while, there was a lot of friction between us. I would leave his flat, and sometimes when I was leaving his flat, she would be coming home, and we would kind of side eye each other, and I'd walk down the stairs. And when I lived just down the road from him with my parents, and I was always at the back of my mind, oh my God, he could leave me for her. If I don't act a certain way, he has her as an option, and it worked. He triangulated us to keep control of me so that I would never leave. And it's only hindsight now. Hindsight really is 2020. He lost his mother at a very young age. He had abandonment issues. At the time, I had no idea that his behavior was just so that he could control me, just so that he could hold on to me, that I would never leave him. And it just so happens that there was friction between us. We didn't like each other. We saw each other as competitors. And he is the one that was the mastermind of all of that. It just so happens one night we were in bed together, and some woman called him, his ex-girlfriend called him, and I could hear what she was saying, she was saying, why haven't you called me for months? And I was not happy about it, okay? You're with your boyfriend, and some ex-girlfriend calls him in the middle of the night. I wasn't happy, so we got into it. The next thing I know, he runs next door to the girl who looks just like me, the one that he would triangulate me with, the one that I had friction with. And he starts pouring his heart out to her right in front of me. And from that moment, there was no more friction or tension between us, because I realized that she had become a really good friend to him. I realized he really did love me, and that he was actually confiding in her when me and him would have problems. It just so happens that at this point he was panicking that I was going to walk out and leave, and he went knocking on her door, because he wanted someone to talk to. He was afraid that I was going to leave. By this time, she had a boyfriend, and he was actually very good friends with her boyfriend. They would go to the gym together in the mornings. I'd be there, he would leave in the morning, and he'd be going to the gym with her boyfriend. So as time went on, I realized that he was no longer attracted to her in that way. But in the initial stages of our relationship, he would triangulate us as a way of keeping control of me so that I would never leave him. He always had it hanging over my head. If you leave me, there's a girl next door that looks just like you. And, if you leave me, I'm going to go back I'm going to try and date her again. So triangulation is a very, very effective way to control somebody, and to manipulate someone, and to have somebody at your fingertips, and to create drama with people. Anyway, when I say he loved me, I would probably say he loved me in the best way he knew how. He'd never been, he never been in a two-parent family. He went through the foster system. He had lots of brothers and sisters who had been separated from, so he probably really didn't know how to love. So he was probably quite emotionally, emotionally affected individual. I'm going to use that word. You know, he was very deeply affected, and you know, he loved me the best way he knew how, but it probably wasn't love in the conventional sense. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I've been listening to Country Joe and Jura because they're in the same sphere as Lycan, and I get a lot of juicy gossip from them. Jura and Country Joe, I loved hearing their live streams together, and I really love Jura's voice. So it's I've gotten a lot of information. But what I've been hearing since is, and Noodle Mash, I've never really listened to her properly. Like I've never really been a viewer, but I've known about Noodle Mash for a long time since her back and forth with Mrs. P. If anyone can update me on Mrs. Portland, let me know what's going on with her. That would be most appreciated. But Noodle Mash and Lycan are in a back and forth. And I often will hear Lycan saying things about Jura and Country Joe when they go live stream. He will often try and create, a triangulation or new drama whenever they go live on him. But what I've been seeing, and I've print screened some of this, what I've been seeing is that Lycan now places responsibility on Tiffany for all his online woes and the things he's saying about her. Oh my goodness. The things he's saying about Tiffany. Like, this is a guy who claimed, or who I heard claimed to be in love with Tiffany, but now it seems like he's after her, and not in a romantic way, but in in the dramatic way. And I've been print screening some of the things that I've heard him saying about Tiffany. And why does this just never end? Why can't they just, if they don't like each other, why can't they just go their separate ways and leave it at that? Why does this have to? Why does there have to be this back and forth drama? I've come to the conclusion that he is probably addicted to drama. He's probably addicted to it. He loves it. He feeds on it. He thrives on it, and just loves it. Maybe it's an ego boost for him. I haven't had any personal issues with Lycan. He's come to my channel a few times and left a few messages. I haven't been in any kind of back and forth with him ever. And like I said, the guy's talented. He's engaging. He's charismatic. I actually enjoy watching some of his live streams. He's talked about Diddy. He's talked about Kanye. He's talked about Trump, Biden, and all the drama that he's involved in on YouTube. So, you get a lot of variety when you go onto his channel. So, and he knows how to keep people engaged. But this guy is like addicted to drama. He's like a magnet for it. Anyway, I'm kind of losing my train of thought because I'm thinking about the football match this evening. I think France is playing, and I've always supported France. Some of my favorite players of all time have played for the French team. People like Zidane, Thierry Henry. I've always Benzema, who I used to have a massive crush on. Karim Benzema, I used to have a crush on him. So my favorite players have played for some of my favorite players of all time have played for France. So I'll be supporting France tonight. I'm always when France plays, if they're not playing, even when they play England, I tend to lean towards supporting the French, even though I don't have any French ancestry that I know of. Anyway, I'll leave it there for now, and maybe there'll be a part 2 to this.